Hello, and welcome to Women in Business, where we interview entrepreneurs and senior managers and show you the strengths, successes, obstacles, and roadblocks women experience in business. Since I believe every person in business needs to be visible, I'd like to invite you to watch www.sob6, that's the number 6, tips.com, which will give you some valuable information should you get the call to be on radio or TV, which I think is extremely important. If you'd like to contact me personally, drop me a line at Gayle Carson, that's Gayle, Gayle Carson 13 at gmail.com, or go to my website, www.spunkyoldbroad.com, and sign up for my weekly newsletter.
Hi, everyone. This is Gayle Carson with an exceptional guest today, Barbara Hales. With an excess of 30 years of professional involvement in the healthcare field, she is a uniquely qualified writer for the medical and health market. She's dedicated to helping to educate the public in promoting health and helping those in need. As a medical doctor, Dr. Hales worked in obstetrics and gynecology for 3 decades. She also has unparalleled experience in writing, serving as the CEO of the Right Testament with the Right Treatment, which is WRITE, the Right Treatment LLC, and editor-in-chief of the Medical Strategist. She's a skilled expert in the promotion of ideas, which serves to educate and enlighten an audience. And her services include editorials, case studies, newsletters, white papers, web content, and patient guides, to name a few. Well, welcome, Barbara, and what a versatile person you are.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Well, it is great. It's nice to know that there are doctors who can do more than be physicians. But we talk about, it's interesting, you talk about whether marketing for doctors is ethical or unethical. And I did my doctoral dissertation on marketing for post-secondary education, but I received my doctorate in 1982. And so marketing was a dirty word for education. And now, of course, if educational institutions don't market, they're out of business. So what about marketing for doctors and healthcare providers? Do you consider that unethical?
Not at all when you consider what marketing is. When you ask the average doctor if they market, most doctors will say they either don't know how, they don't have the time, or it's unethical. But the fact is, marketing is simply telling people where you're located and the services that you provide. Can you imagine having a doctor's office and not telling anybody the location? Or can you imagine telling people that you have an office but not telling them what services you provide? Both of them sound ridiculous, don't they?
They do.
So obviously, if you provide that information, guess what? You're marketing.
I guess it's because most people think of marketing as hype, and a lot of marketing is hype. But as you say, if you don't let people know what you do and where you are and who you are, nothing happens. Of course, a lot of doctors do depend on referrals, but in order to take yourself, I think, out of the pack and make yourself, in demand, then you need to let people know what's different about you. So what do you say are the key elements that effective websites must have?
Well, first I'd like to say to people listening that more than 80% of patients or prospective patients don't just make an appointment with a doctor by referrals from their family or friends. The first thing they do when they get a referral is to go online and search out the information about the doctor. So if the doctor has no website and the doctor's not online, guess what? For that prospective patient, that doctor does not exist.
That's interesting because I truthfully, see, now I have to tell you something. I have never looked on a website for a doctor. I guess when I go to specialists, I go to someone that either my doctor has referred to or someone else has referred me to. And when I go to my primary, it's through my insurance. So that's interesting that you're finding that many, many, many patients go to the doctor's websites. That's an aha for me. I didn't realize that.
When they don't go onto the website, what they're doing is going into the various doctor ranking sites. So reviews are really crucial at this point. Does a doctor have only 1 star and a scathing review? Or is the doctor 5-star and has really glowing reports about not only the doctor, but the office as well? If you go online and you see that a doctor is not ranked well, it's unlikely that that doctor is going to get that appointment.
Wow. This is like a aha for me, Barbara. I didn't realize any of this. So are they using SEO, or is SEO dead, or what are they doing to find the doctors?
No, SEO is alive and living. What SEO is, for those people that are unfamiliar with it, is search engine optimization. What that means is when a person goes online, they're doing a search and they're typing in certain words. Those are what we call keywords. What you have to stop and think is, like, how is the person online finding the doctor? Usually they'll put in the type of service and the location. So, for instance, if you have a bad hip and you're thinking maybe that you would need a hip replacement, you're not typing in the name of the doctor. By and large, you're typing in hip replacement, orthopedist, and the location that you're in, because there's no point getting 5 pages worth of referrals online to doctors that are not within a 100-mile radius of you. When you type in 3 or 4 words, that's what we call long tail keywords. And it's so important for doctors to have those keywords on their website because, you know, again, if a person is putting in those services and locations and you're not listed that way, all of your competitors are going to be found. Sure, eventually you'll get found, maybe on page 25, but most doctors are only getting referrals from page 1 or 2. So if you're on page 25, again, you might as well not exist.
So, you know, you also say that it's very important to use social media. So people, gosh, there's so much coming up all the time, and there's so much on social media. How do you maximize it for your benefit?
Well, there are 2 things about social media that doctors should keep in mind, as well as any professional, even outside of the healthcare field. The first thing that you want to do is concentrate on the social media channel that your target market or, clients, patients, consumers are on. For instance, if you deal with the younger crowd, you may want to spend more time on Snapchat or Instagram, whereas if you were dealing with the older crowd, you may want to concentrate on Facebook. There's no point in spending all your time on a channel that your consumers are not on. But to do that alone is missing a very key opportunity. And that is, even if you're not spending time on a particular social media platform, they allow you to put your profile on it. So you could go into every single social media platform available and write a stellar profile for yourself, your practice, your office. Because after all, one of the key reasons for being on social media is to drive traffic back to your website. You could have a profile on a website and spend no other time on that particular platform, but still get traffic from it by having a great profile.
Barbara, how on earth did you become such an expert on the web? I mean, whether it's social media or websites or any of this, because your background is medical, your background is writing. So where did you become this expert on all of this? I think it's fascinating.
Well, I think that with everyone else on the web, it is, trial and error, seeing what works and what doesn't. And if it's something that you enjoy, it's something you spend more time with. But
Well, it's still, it's really amazing. So when you discuss online research for one's health, what's the best way to do it? Type in keywords? Is that the best way to do it?
well, assuming that you don't get the referral from your own personal physician, because I think that that goes into a different category. But if you are looking for a particular service, then you would go and do a Google search for the service that you want and the location. For instance, you would say, if you were located in Los Angeles, and you had, a knee problem, you would say, knee problem, Los Angeles, California, and anything else that you want to put all tied together. And then the search engine looks for someone or a practice that fits all of those keywords. If they can't find it, then they, break it up. So when you have keywords on your website, not only are you telling prospective patients what you're all about, but you're also explaining to the search engines what you're all about, because the search engines really need to learn, who and what you represent as well.
Interesting. So you also suggest videos for healthcare providers, and you suggest certain things that should be shot. What are they? Are you talking about doctors here? Are you talking about insurance companies? Are you talking about drug companies? Who are you talking about here?
Well, nowadays, I think that video is becoming more and more popular. People, get bored reading words all the time. They really want to have, a visual cue as to what they're trying to understand. And doctors especially, or hospitals, have a key opportunity here by having videos, because you can show them a particular procedure so that the viewer understands it better. You can show them a medical device, or a dentist can show, a type of procedure or device, so that when the viewer takes a look at the video, they have a much better understanding than just reading about it. You even have the opportunity to do a video of the staff members for the office with their names and the roles that they play, so that patients are getting a good feeling and knowledge about the staff and office before they even step through the door for the first time. They think that they have a feeling that they know everyone already. And that feeling of knowing everybody really makes them much more comfortable and takes away the stress.
Wow. So what are some of the ways that portals can save doctors and patients time?
Well, there are certain procedures that, or certain questions that patients ask over and over again. They'll call up, they want to know their lab results, or they'll call up wanting to schedule an appointment, or they have questions. If you have a portal, which is a window or a hyperlink to your website specifically for these functions, patients can do it anytime that's convenient for them, whether it's in the morning, afternoon, when, waiting for the kids to come home from school, or, in the middle of the night. It doesn't matter, because it's all electronic. So patients can make appointments when they have more convenience for themselves, and the doctors don't have to spend time answering the phones for that purpose. If a person just wants to say, I just want my lab test results, instead of taking up office time or doctor time, they could just go into this portal and get all that information. If they have questions that they would like to address at their appointment or slightly before that, they can put that information on the portal too, so that when the patient walks through the door, there already is some understanding of exactly what the patient wants to concentrate on with the doctor.
It's interesting because I have never ever seen a doctor's office, and I go to a lot of doctors, that has ever had an online scheduling device. I have to say that. Every time I want an appointment, I need to call. As a matter of fact, I've got a call today because they called me and said it was time for my checkup again. And I know I will have to call the office, and they'll go through their scheduling to get me in. But I've never ever seen a doctor have a scheduling calendar, the way coaches do or consultants do or people like that. That's amazing. So you also talk about testimonials. Now, are those legitimate for doctors to be able to get and put on a website? Because, there's so many regulations for doctors and in the medical field. And, of course, if they get one, you hope it's going to be a good one. And I think you mentioned something like in social media, some of the places that people go to see referrals and what the ratings on the doctors are. And they're sometimes good and they're sometimes not good. So what are the things that you think should be in there? Can they go on the doctor's website? How can the doctor control the ones that might be on, I don't know, Yelp or someplace like that might not be very, very recommending? I know that I particularly I've told the doctor's office this, but I also called my insurance company because they have a ruling that if you don't get taken in a certain amount of time, you're to let them know. And I did. And I don't know if anything happened because of it, but I mean, I do tell my insurance company when something isn't right. So give me an idea on these testimonials.
Well, the testimonials don't come from the doctor's office themselves. They come directly from the patient to the website itself. So the doctor has no control whatsoever about what goes on, and that's what keeps the validity of it. If there is a negative view, then what a doctor should do is take that as constructive criticism. Are they saying that the office staff is not as receptive to the patient's concerns, or that there is a particular issue at the doctor's office that can be corrected? Having just one negative view like that really is an opportunity for the doctor's office to change. If it's a scathing report, instead of addressing it online, the best thing for a doctor's office to do would be to address it this way. Thank you for your input. I feel that it merits additional attention. Please come to the office so that we could deal with it one-to-one, face-to-face. And it shows that the doctor is flexible, that he or she is amenable to, any criticisms, and it takes it offline, because you don't really want to have it go back and forth online once somebody is disgruntled. The best way to get rid of the negative views online is to just completely dilute it with tons of positive reviews and testimonials, so that the negative one falls to the bottom and nobody actually gets to see it.
Well, I would think that it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for the doctor. It's an opportunity for the office to make good on something. And when people see that, people just want to be recognized, really. If you have a complaint, you're happy if somebody calls you and say, what can I do about this? And sorry for the misunderstanding, or what can we change, or whatever. And I have to say, Barbara, I don't think a lot of physicians do that. Now, you're working in the medical field all the time. What do you see?
Well, I think those days when doctors were the total authority and a patriarchal sense of practice is gone. That does not exist anymore. Now we have a team approach where a patient and a doctor is, part of the same team. A doctor can explain issues to the patient and offer various options, but it's now the patient's turn to make the decision as to which option that he or she would like to follow. This gives more compliance. It empowers the patient to understand what's going on and to take a more active role.
I guess that's true. And of course it would be great. I mean, I go on all kinds of websites or people that send blogs and so forth, and I see the comments that are left. And again, very few of the blog writers respond to these things. And those that do, I think it makes a big difference. If somebody writes something on your blog, I disagree with you, or I agree with you, or you're great, or you're horrible, or whatever it is, to have a response and say thank you, or sorry you feel that way, or whatever. But to me, it's a golden opportunity, and there should be someone in the office that is responsible to do that, so that the patient feels like they're not being neglected or overlooked. So, you also talk about publicity. What are some of the best ways to get free publicity as opposed to the worst ways?
Well, of course, the best way to get publicity would be to, get out there and meet the public, whether it is, heading a health fair, doing volunteer work, speaking at libraries, getting out there and getting seen. Also by having an online advice column in the local newspaper or on a particular website, since a lot of people don't read newspapers, but they may read digital newspapers, and to write articles that get published and, do some article writing with original thought so that you are the one that gets quoted.
Boy, Barbara, I can think of thousands of doctors who must need you, because I don't see many of them doing any of that. And, I'm very active with my healthcare plan. It's an HMO, and I'm one of their ambassadors, and I'm very active with them, and I do not see a lot of that. So, I would think your future is out there in big time. But we're down to about 4 minutes left. I don't know if there's something you want to offer to our audience, but why don't you tell them how to get in touch with you and how you might be able to help them, etc.
Well, I do have two key takeaways in terms of, like bonuses that your listeners should know about. And the first one is I recommend that everybody run and get their domain name of their own name, because when you go online now, you realize that your name is not that distinct, that there may be like 20 people with the same name as yourself. And you wouldn't want somebody else buying your name and using it online for something that doesn't represent you. Like you may go online with your name and find out that it's a porno site.
That's true.
So even though you get your name, you may never use it, but what you're doing is you're preventing anybody else from using it. What I would like to give as a gift to your listeners is that if they contact me, they could get a free 30-minute coaching session on any of the marketing that they are having problems with. I would be happy to provide the solutions for the problems that they're struggling with, or a review of their website with some advice on how to make it more effective.
Wow, those are great gifts. Listeners, if you have a website and you've been wondering whether or not it's doing for you what you want it to, get in touch with Barbara, and also, any of the other areas that she might be able to help you with coaching. So where would they go to reach you, Barbara?
They could go to themedicalstrategist.com/contact.
Okay, so that's the medical, MEDICAL, strategist, STRATEGIST.com / what was the /
Contact.
Podcast. Okay.
No. Contact.
Contact. Okay. The medicalstrategist.com / contact. I mean, this is a golden opportunity for those of you who are, saying, gee, I wish I had the opportunity to have someone look at my website, or I'd love to have someone give me some coaching on what I should be doing as opposed to what I am doing. This is it. This is your golden opportunity, because Barbara really knows what she's talking about. The fact that she's able to do it for the medical profession, to me, is phenomenal. So, but she can do it for anybody, because that's what, you can transfer these skills to anyone. So it's really, really important that you take advantage of this. Is there anything else that you'd like to leave our listeners with, Barbara?
Well, if they would like to learn more about various effective ways to market, I do have a book that you could get from Amazon in both hardcover or digital, called Content Copy Made Easy.
That's good. Content copy made easy. That's perfect, because a lot of people do not know how to write copy, and that's what pulls people in. So that's magnificent. Fantastic. Well, my guest has been Barbara Hales, the medical strategist. She's someone who has not only been a physician and is a physician, but has helped doctors and physicians and healthcare profession with their websites and strategies, and she can do it for you too. So be sure to be in touch with her. Thanks so much for being with us, Barbara. We really, really appreciate it.
It was a real pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Women in Business. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And if you have any suggestions as to who you'd like me to have as a guest, just email me at gaylecarson13@gmail.com. Be sure to check out www.sob6tips.com. And in the meantime, go to www.spunkyoldbroad.com to see the resources I have for you.